Hi, here I am working on it. Well, I should do this so you can see it. Working on a top carve here on a new guitar. Hopefully to go to a buddy of mine very soon. And I just wanted to do a little bit of a review. You know, I don't make very many videos, and when I do, it's usually about a product that I really like. And these new little planes from Lee Valley, I really like these planes. I had the good fortune of being able to test these things out just a little bit ahead of time. But anyhow, notice I took the handle off. The handle's kind of cool. It's really nice when you have to get into a spot that you couldn't normally get into. So, for example, if I needed to get into here to do any sort of carving down in here, I could do that with the handle on. But in general, though, I prefer to have the handle off. So you're going to see me review this with the handle off. Keep the handle on, but I think it's a better plane with the handle off. But the handle is really cool. The handle comes in handy. I haven't thrown my handles out yet. Keeping my handles. What can I say about this thing? Well, the two I use most are this little guy here. He has a convex shape like that, and he also has a convex shape like this. It's the double convex. I use this guy and I use the flat bottom guy. I have them. I have the concave one, and I also have the single convex one. I really don't have a use for. I guess it's nice to have around. Maybe one day I'll have a use for it. I'm sure that there are people out there that have a use for it, but I don't. This guy here, and in fact, this guy here, even more than the flat one, is the one that I use the most. So let me show you what you can do with this little guy, why I like this guy so much. And I'm also going to show you, it's not like this is just a small collection of my what I would call little carving planes. It's not like I don't have a fairly sizable collection of these little planes. But this one here in particular is exactly the right thing. See if we can see this guy here. It's my ibex one. This is sort of the industry standard, if you could even say that we have an industry standard for carving planes. If you look, the Lee Valley one is far more convex. It has a smaller radius on it, and it allows you to do things like get into these areas here. If you look here, I don't know if you can see it, but this area here is fairly sharp, especially around here. The area around here is fairly sharp, especially around here. To get into this area is actually really tough. And previously, I would try to come in here with maybe files or some very fine rasps. You know, this happens to be a spruce top, so you really don't want to attack this thing with too many rasps. I try to get in there and scrape it. It's a tedious thing to do. But what I really want to do is cut it, so I don't tear up my spruce top here. And with this little guy here, it's great. You can just get in there. See, I have it set for a very light cut and really fine tune these little areas here. And so now I realize that not everybody out there is doing guitar building, but if you think of anything you guys do, you know, legs or any other kind of carving that you do, just think how useful it would be to have a little guy like this that you can get in there and really make a very precise cut. There. You know, I can really fine-tune these small little areas here, like I've really never been able to before. I mean I have, but it's been really hard. This just makes it all very easy. It's a great little tool. Great little tool. Very happy that I have it. It's become an indispensable part of my arsenal here, are a couple of tricks to it, and in general, there are a couple of tricks to all these guys for adjusting them. And you know, I see people doing stuff like this, right? I'll do it on this one here. You can see it a little bit better. We'll try to loosen up the cap iron, and then move this in and out to try to adjust it for depths of cut. You know, not only on something like this, but if you wait a second, let me show you other planes. But maybe even with planes like this, there's no adjuster on it. And even block planes that do have an adjuster on it, you know, the adjustment is kind of touchy sometimes. So I don't bother with that. What I do to get a slightly deeper or more shallow depths of cut, as I do what the Japanese do, I use a plane hammer. This is sort of the standard way of adjusting a Japanese plane, or even a traditional wooden plane, right? Tap on it. Really no reason in the world why it doesn't work with these planes as well. So let's find a good spot here. Okay, so I can see over here, now I've kind of defined an edge here, and I want to start bringing this down. I can do this forever. Well, you can see my depth of cut is just a little light. It's a bit of a light cut. Let me get just a little bit of a heavier cut. I'm not going to touch anything. I'm just going to give it just a little tap. Now I have a much heavier, well, not a much heavier cup, but I have a proportionally heavier cup, proportional to how hard I tapped. To move it back out, tap it on the bottom. We'll move it back out. Now I have a very, very light cut. In fact, if I can tap it out enough so I get no cut, right? Let's get a little bit of a cut here. There we go. That's nice. See, now I can come in here and refine these there. And by the way, but you know, beyond these little guys here, these guys here are great for carving away material and making very graceful arcs, and really nice. Everybody who's not doing just plain flat goods and has any sort of carving that they do should definitely look into these planes. You can get them flat bottomed. You can get them with radiuses on them. And if you're doing anything small, these planes here, these little Lee Valley planes, are absolutely superb. They're a really great plane. The Lee Valley one adjusts the same way. In fact, I have to say that the adjustment on the Lee Valley one is a little bit frustrating, only because things are in the way, so it's difficult to even turn the cap screw without touching the iron. But if you adjust it the same way, actually, let me tighten this down a little bit. It's a little loose. If you adjust it the same way, I have nothing there. Give it a little tap. This requires very, very light taps. Just barely rubbing now. Another little tap. That's a very light cut. There we go. That's a nice cut right there. That's what we're looking for. If it were a little too heavy, one of the things I find works really well, yeah, that's way too heavy. One of the things I find works well here, if you notice the angle that it's bedded at, hitting it down here does not work so well. Hitting it right here where the handle would go, or I guess tapping it on the handle, is a far more effective way of backing it out. There we go. Nice. That's perfect right there. So, anyhow, if you hold on a second here. anyhow, it's a long story how and why, but I ended up with quite a few of these. But so I'll just show you here while we're here. That's the flat bottom one. I use him all the time. Flat bottom one. This is, and that's another flat bottom. I have two sets, and I'm not going to explain why right now, but I do. That's the concave one. I just really don't have a use for this in the work that I do. Um, maybe for rounding over an edge, or if you have a small spindle, you know, I don't. And I don't do any of this work, so I don't know you guys, but somebody buy it because I'm sure it's great. Let's see, what else do I have here? This one here, this is the single convex. You can see, maybe you can, maybe you can't. That's convex like this, but it is dead straight across the top. And the one I use the most is the double convex. It is convex like that, and also convex across the top. So those are the four that you have a choice of. Really, really great. I love them. If somebody stole them, I'd buy more. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope this helps somebody out.